I'm IskatuMesk, and I'm sitting down today to cast a series of games between Veeq7 and Keyan. 3 noises. What kind of noise does 3 make? I imagine it's something like a drunk manlet in a bathroom throwing up, ranting and raving about how he's the war chief. I've actually casted this game already, but it desynced. There is no special needs instructions about how to prevent desyncs. It's supposed to just work. Well, it doesn't. Not in UDP anyways. It seems to work within single player, so I ran a quick test to see if that behaved, and it did. So we're going to see if the whole series will work in single player. This was a much more difficult desync to detect. There was no idle workers or anything like that. It actually desynced towards the end of the game, so that was a little disappointing. Haven't checked the other games in the series though, so hopefully, penis is crossed, we don't have any more tism. So, Veeq is back from Crazy Mountain, where he has spent a very large amount of time sneeding, seeding and feeding. And while he was sneeding, I imagine he was also imbibing copious amounts of dank Polish ganja. I have no idea really what he plays like, other than that, a lot like Keyan, Veeq is prone to tilting and rage quitting. So, there's that. Pernigo did make the comment to me a while ago that Veeq may well be... Oh, the colors are different even. This was like puke-ass fucking orange in the other replay. I don't know about that. Not a clue. Pernigo did make the comment that Veeq may be the best player if he wasn't so prone to rage quitting. I think that's what it was. So, we have scouts going out. We're going to turn that back on so I can see what the fuck's going on, because the teal's almost invisible in the map. Yes, this color is different in the replay. Or in this version of the replay. Early Sims. The Sims meme. Hopefully nobody ends up inside of a toilet. At least not before I get to populate it. This probe is absolutely fucked. Completely squashed. So Keyan grabbing some gas here. Got an early watchdog since he did see the lattice and doesn't want to get punked by vassals. So many people have been punked by vassals. I haven't seen too many games end thanks to vassals for a while. This vulture does have 2 mines. This one's going to get poked. Oh! Meanwhile, over here, this mine gets dropped without being sexually harassed, and Keyan has to guard it now like a lost child, because otherwise something like that will happen. How wretched. Well, Keyan doesn't get too much out of that. More and more and more Sims are on the way. There is a bunker here with a Cyclops going into it and a Goliath coming, as well as a second Fulcrum. Because an idle probe. Just large amounts of simulacrums coming. Both players playing random, I think, in all of these matches. At least I believe that's what was stated. So this bunker should hold the line for a while until an extremely large number of Sims arrive. He's going to need to acquire additional Goliaths, however. He needs their single target damage. Veeq has him contained and could try to YOLO all in, or he could just expand, take gas. That's just what he's going to do. He may suspect there is an expansion behind here, so no other defenses did arrive, so he's just going to YOLO it. A vulture arrives. Oh, okay. Some tism, some spinning. There is no expansion. Some mines have been placed here, perhaps anticipating a drop given the map distance. This is, I believe, Veeq's map, Proxima, and he has made some changes to it. I think the bases are a lot more vulnerable now. So I'm not sure what the reasoning behind that was. And he might have reduced some of the distances or the map size or something like that. There's a star pad. Just spamming vultures, not going really for anything besides vultures at the moment. He's a little strapped on resources. He did cap one geyser. Little welcoming mat of mines here, just eager to blow up in his own face if he isn't careful. Oh, look, it's vassals. Keyan will be well familiar with this site. The warp graphics are not pukey orange in this one. I'm really confused by that. In the first time I casted this, there's this hyper bright orange warp in, and it's just absolutely retina burning. Really confused. Maybe it's a specific structure that does that. I guess we will see. Some vassals are going to poke into here. Some tickling. Nothing really to hoot about. There's a bunch of mines placed over here, and it's really, really, really unlikely he's going to drop over here. It's the riskiest place to drop because it's going to be the closest to the military and any bunkers. Over here is where you've got to be most worried about. There's just mines all over the damn place in strange areas. Veeq is going to try to make a unified push here. The Anzil charges forward. Oh, that was a massacre. No Goliaths. Still waiting on his. Oh! Okay, so Veeq chooses to disengage, even though he has complete ownership of the area. I think he's really afraid of what's going to come out of those factories. He could have killed this Mason or done more damage or something, but he chooses to disengage. It's a little unusual. So, Veeq has been floating an absolutely insane amount of resources. Apparently, this fact does not change. I figure he would go straight to, like, heavy air or something. Like, he just has so much money. He's actually going to make an Argosy. And that's where Didacts come from. And a couple of other things, I don't remember what they were. He's going to put his various vassals around expansions to make sure Keyan is not going to be sneaking an expansion anywhere, but Keyan does float the CC down here and start taking the natural. So, Veeq has such an insane amount of control over the map, and he has such an insane amount of resources, he could go straight to building heavy military units. He could go to building Solarians, Empyreans, both of those are very solid choices. He could go towards building, you know, Architects or something like that. A little slower, but still within his price range, especially since he could also take a third base. But instead he chooses to go straight for the Argosy, so just a little bit of scouting over here, flying straight into the Cyclops, able to kill 2 of them, and otherwise accomplish not much at all. Sees the Star Pad and a Wraith come out. Not much military units for him around the map, but now he's going to start spamming wardens all over the place and building a handful more of... Oh my fucking god, Jesus Christ! Welcome to Brood War. Yep, that's Blizzard polish for you. Polishing the knob. Wardens over here as well. 3 Wraiths are coming. Not exactly the most demanding of responses are needed for this. They're just Wraiths. A couple vassals will ward them off. They don't really command the kind of terror that Nathercores do. A handful of kills. Nothing spectacular here. Oh! That was more sass than anything. Keyan establishing dominance. Indeed, it is a Didact coming as the probes spin. Absolutely fucking brilliant. He went for blackjacks. He made 2 scrapyards and went for blackjacks. So Keyan's quite behind on tech right now. And this gas is not going to improve because he's not harvesting any from his expansion. This, the sequestered icon, that is what we expected to see a little earlier. Also, the warp icon is not fucked in this version. So, I don't know. Like, the player color was the same in both. Oh, there it is! Oh my god! Oh, that is absolutely cancer. That is just absolutely retina burning. Holy shit. I can't look at that. I'm sorry, it's gross. Maybe what it is like the Didact when it uncloaks the building, it changes its colors or something. That's really atrocious. God. And there's like bright neon colors, just my retinas can't take them. So Keyan's going to decide to try to move out here, and the Didact is flying in without any real knowledge of the base whatsoever, but the drop forest is going to consist of Sims. So yeah, there is an architect coming, however. So he is going to bring a little bit more heavy firepower. They're going to get slurped in. And Keyan was going all the way over here for some reason, and is going to have to just run back. Oh, there's so many Sims, and they're going to be made so much more annoying by the constant recloaking. All Keyan is achieving at this point is multiplying the number of Sims. But he commands a terrifying force of Wraiths. The ideal unit. Oh! Oh, and there's stasis. Oh, and there's stasis. It's okay. He's got mana for more stasis if he needs it. Oh. He's trying to pop the mines, but all this shit's cloaked. I don't know if they'll pop uncloaked units. Oh, that was bizarre. Oh. Nope. There's even more Sims. I wish I could play the game. Okay, so I'm going to show you what happened the first time I watched this and how absolutely confounded I was. Because Brood War, much like Starcraft 2, has a random Keyan absolutely confounded, completely flustered by this. No! Veeq had a massive... What the hell was all that about? So, yes, when we actually go through the match and see how it actually ended, it makes a little bit more sense. I explain my confusion. I'm going to actually report that decloaking bug while we're here. So we're going to watch the second replay and hope it just works. Like I said, there wasn't like idle workers all over the place, so... Shadow cloaked. Skull Crush. Solo wrong. Veeq spawning in the same place, and 3 noises again spawning in the bottom left. The races are actually inverted. Yes, the races are inverted now. What, Veeq? What the fuck are you doing? Calm your tits! Jesus Christ, you've left Crazy Mountain. You don't need to be trying to compensate for that. Leave the crazy back in Poland. What happens in Poland stays in Poland. Nobody knows that you and the bear got intimate. And two very early SAV is coming from Veeq. This is going to be cheese. Absolutely 100%. And they're taking absolutely bizarre as fuck paths, with the one going all the way around, very possibly to avoid an early scout. Almost, yes. Veeq, what are you doing to this poor man? What's going on? What did they do to you in Poland? Why did Crazy Mountain have to end like this? Of course, Keyan's gonna know something's up when he doesn't see fucking anything inside of his base. That's the immediate time you're like, hey, this is a fucking all-in. Something stupid's going on. It's time to build wardens and some other shit. But I bet you 69 fucking dwarf bucks he goes for Sims, and there's some kind of like bullshit. See, he's looking for the hidden tech. This is when you're like, okay, there has to be a proxy, and with Terran it's going to be bunkers, so you definitely need to build some shits. Maybe even go straight to a matrix. Matrix's multi-attack will help against Maverick all in. Oh, ha 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 ha! Oh, the chase is on after that son of a bitch! Get him! Get him! Keyan, just like me, is focusing all the attention on the probe, and wait, it's an all-in! It's a cheese. Oh, we got fucked. There is no such thing as a warden. There is, however, 250 minerals in the bank when he also desperately needs that for something else. Oh, he's just making the Sims multiply. This could backfire on Veeq if he's not careful. This isn't exactly the kind of force you really want to tickle down, and I think he realizes that. He pulls back and maybe buckles up for some Ahmed, So what's he going to do? Just double down? There's the fort? Embassy. What does the embassy make? The embassy makes witness, envoy, worker? Is he going to drop him? He might. There's the warden. He could ever just make a double lattice instead of the warden at this point. He's already repelled it, but more all-in is on the way, so being safe isn't necessarily a bad idea. Keeping his forces split up is not great in this circumstance, though. Oh my god! Keyan better buckle up. He's making a manifold. The warden has a while to finish. It is Ahmed. Oh. Oof. Oh. Yeah. Oh. A little bit of a wiggle there. Keyan knows that something strange is going on. The all-in is not proving to be terrifically successful at the moment. And now maybe Veeq might be thinking about transitioning out of it, but he's still... No, he's got it. He's going to double down. Yeah, that's going to be a bunker, almost guaranteed. No gas for him at all. There's no tech switch. He's doubling down. Keyan does have the embassy and is getting a rogue gallery. Okay. Additional probe? He built it just for the probe, or is he going to get an envoy? I'm so confused. God, that walk cycle, I'll never unsee that. They have 3 armor penetration. That's well more than enough to defeat Ahmed. He's looking around for the barracks, but they are just in a strange place. He wisely pulls back. You never know what stupidity is going to befall you when there's an awkward pause. It is a bar guest. Additional probes. But he's almost at max saturation as it is. So I'm really still expecting to see the envoy. That said, he's not going to really have a window to drop for a while here. It is quite an investment. Okay, so the Barghest is going to go scouting. The Barghest could cause Veeq a tremendous amount of ass pain. He has absolutely nothing to defend his base at all. No watchdogs, no nothing. What stupidity befalls us this hour? Oh, the Barghest did not go for his base. Oh no, it's coming. The bunkers are full of shit. This is a good all-in. I like it. Yep, Ahmed dies. Absolute train wreck. But the Barghest is... He could use it to just absolutely cripple the defenses. I'm not sure this really warrants its attention right now. All Veeq has to do at this point is build some defense in his base. He already lost the first bunker. It kind of neuters the effectiveness of this. Just spend some minerals and make some wardens. And Keyan is much too focused on punishing Ahmed for his brazenness. Oh, the lash of the spanking. Veeq is in deep shit now. No! Ahmed gets punished a second time. Absolutely spanked. I think this all-in is fucked. Oh, he tries to lift! Absolute disaster. Veeq is fucked. Send the Barghest to the base and clean it up. Go on. Go squish him. Veeq should be building anti-air defense. There's no reason he shouldn't be building a minimum of 2 watchdogs, maybe 3 in his main right now. Like, those things should be inside of his base, killing him at the moment. I am not sure why Keyan didn't just send them, like, straight off as soon as the bunker exploded. There's nothing. There's no defense. There's one watchdog. There's going to be so many Barghists by the time they swarm into his base. One watchdog is not going to be enough. Keyan must realize at this point that the blow that was dealt by repelling that was much more than just killing the bunker. It completely fucked him because it was so all in. But every little bit he hesitates gives Veeq a chance to recover and prepare. There is a Vagrant on the way. Veeq is trying to prepare here, but there's 2 watchdogs now. So it's a little bit of protection, but there is 5 Barghists, and I feel like they can probably burst those down. Two watchdogs there. They're not trying to brave the watchdogs, but they did pick off several workers. Oh no, they're dying. Oh. Nope. With those manifolds, they should be able to force this down. Down it goes, and that's it. Veeq concedes. Could have forced a concession out of him, probably 3 minutes prior to that, but... Well, you got the victory in, right? You got it in. Safe. You know, slow and safe is better than careless, right? So if you didn't feel confident, then... At the end of the day, he still pulled out the win. It is now 1-1 in this series. I'm glad that the replay didn't explode. All right, we in our 3rd game of Keyan versus Veeq. This time there are no toasters observing. It is only us. So Keyan takes top right as Zerg, and Veeq takes bottom left as Zerg. So it's a ZVZ, and this will be kind of strange. Will Veeq go for another cheese? Me, I'm partial to the proxy Hatrosk. But I actually think that you could just go for a drop. I'm not sure if the Obelisk can be built prior to tier 2, but if it can, I haven't tried it, but I think you might be able to pick up buildings. I thought about that yesterday. I thought, can't you pick up buildings? You could just pick up the Surgoth colonies and drop them in his base. You would need a little bit of prep for it, but, you know, a lot of these players do not pay attention to defense in their base, especially in, where you have matches like the last one with the early cheese and stuff like that. You see this really delayed response. The Barghist should have just swept in and instantly killed Veeq. They absolutely could have. There's this really delayed response. In such cases, where under those circumstances, something really cheeky, dropping buildings in the base works quite well. That's why Pernigo likes to proxy sentinels into people's. You know, it can work. At the very least, it can really tie them up. So early Hatrosk coming from Keyan, and the Quasruk coming from Veeq. So it looks like Veeq is just going straight to Quasruk expansion. No gas at all. And there is a hold on Larva at this point. We're going to see 3 Hydras pop out immediately. Immediately. You can do it. Is he going to do it? He might be thinking about it. Or he... Oh, there we go. 1. He decided to expand. He was holding to expand. I saw his minerals go down. I was like, where the hell does minerals go? I think he held off building all the Hydras because he was checking that expansion that Veeq had. And I was like, okay, I'll just take the expansion, then go Hydras. A little risky because there are some Zethar cores coming, and Zethar cores may not be the most amazing, but they can kill buildings insanely fast because of 2 armor penetrations. So he might actually have to cancel this. He could have tried to chase down the Hydra, upon which case he might have been able to get a low. And his reinforcements might have been able to finish it off. Or he could have retreated immediately and then pushed the Hydras. But didn't work out. Veeq again goes straight to double cap. Straight to triple cap. That's 3. That's absolutely 3. I turn off the preview in OBS because I have had it completely tank my performance in the past. There's a number of Zethikoros and a number of Hydras. The Hydras should be quite fine here. Their damage is extraordinarily high and no longer explosive. So, yeah. Very strong. Circuit coming up. And another circuit coming up. All this gas is immediately being harvested. Is he going to rush straight for tier 2? Or is he going to go for Zorkis? Whatever the case is, his mineral harvesting is absolutely terrible right now. He is absolutely in a very vulnerable spot. The triple cap was quite expensive. And he's not really able to do anything with it at the moment. And that immediately dies. These Hydras could pressure Veeq into an early defeat. All Keyan has to do is circumvent them, go for the workers, kill the Zethikoros, and that's it. He doesn't have to fight here. He can go down. Even a couple worker kills at this point would be absolutely devastating. Especially if Veeq is forced to continue to make Zethikoros and then they get repelled. But some floundering here and messing around with the Circuit colony allows Veeq to reach critical mass as well as kill several Hydras, and committing at this point is definitely not worth it. Veeq does not have to retreat at this point. He could push this and attack, but 2 Zethikoros are on the way. There is no anti-air. Veeq would have to make some Nathikoros, and he didn't. Meek is going to have to make some Nathikoros and some Spraith colonies very fast here. If Keyan is very careful with these, he can prevent a Spraith colony from ever coming up. He is going to make some Quasilisks. I am talking instead of playing. I think you're dying instead of playing, Veeq. There is a little bit of a difference. Well, I think something was definitely distracting him because, yeah. The response was definitely not amazing. That said, he does get some kills in. He's not completely dead, but he lost like half of his workers or something, so. Spraith coming up. Some workers harvesting, but the difference in the military is quite substantial at this stage. It's quite possible these Zethikoros alone could force a GG out of him, especially if they destroy this expansion. Double cap coming from Keyan. Going to expand here. Spraith very likely to come here as well. Veeq still going to try to pull through this game in spite of whatever was going on during the... I mean, I would assume you would just pause the game if someone was disturbing you, but... Maybe it was Keyan chatting him up, asking him about those Polish ganja. There's a number of Zethikoros coming. I think he's going to need more than one Spraith to deal with that. The tickling has begun. 1 kill. Oh, 2 kills. That's kind of about it. Yep. 715 gas. Yeah, not much to say about that one. Don't know what was going on. So, we're on to game 4 of Veeq versus Keyan. Veeq spawning in the top right as Zerg again, and Keyan spawning as Terran in the bottom left. There's 2-1 in favor of Keyan. Keyan has the assistance of the currently unknown malefactor of someone chatting up Veeq in the last game that allegedly confounded him. He claims he was not disturbed by Keyan's luxurious thighs, that the hips were not speaking to him. The viewer may choose to believe what they will. Barracks coming down, and very early gas, probably into Hydrock is my guess. Veeq may go for something more standard. No scouts yet from either. I believe they're both still playing as random too. But they're both just going straight into eco. Very reserved. Sorry, I was just about to throw out bunker. Very safe. Safe and standard, I guess. Not very standard for me. I always go fulcrum because I find clicking on small units much too difficult. The mouse sensitivity is just too fucked on this for me. Veeq is not taking an early expansion or even shows any intent to scout at all yet. Neither does Keyan. Keyan's got an SCV here. And a bunker in here. It's really... He doesn't want to get cheesed again, that's for sure. Absolutely refuses to be cheesed. Now, he built the early Hydrock. He is not building any military units with it. He does, however, have a very large amount of money, and yeah, that's going to be another expansion. Keyan also appears to be banking up for an expansion as well. We can see units in the bunkers now. I wonder why we couldn't before. I think there was some issue with that Pernigo was trying to hunt down. Now making Hydras. 3 Mavericks, that's 3. 2. 1 Maverick runs Cyprian. Command center. Very reserved from both players. Both players not doing any early aggression at all, although I do suspect that as the game goes on and Veeq is not tickled, he will probably send these Hydras out. He at least needs to know what race his opponent is. Oh, there's the scout. At long last. Once he sees the bunker, he may not attack. You might just see him just go for a third or a double cap again. You never know. Veeq seems to like to just go straight into all gas. Very, very expensively. I think it's arguable he would have won that last game even if he didn't have interruptions because, well, it's very possible those Skithrakora still would have done a lot of damage to him just because of the situation he was in. And a lot of that comes from the triple cap immediately. So, will he continue to build military units? I think the right choice at this point is just go straight for a third expansion. And then maybe do some tickling here and see if he can draw out some military units and see if he actually has a military or not. If you can force him to make military units, it can slow down whatever tech or production he is trying to do in the background. It does not seem to be Veeq's state of mind, however. He is just going to be continuing to float resources and very possibly... we'll go for a third. I don't know. Well, there's 1 cap. Hatrosk. No Larvosk? I don't know what the difference between the two is, other than the Hatrosk can be upgraded, of course. Seeing Quarry here. Secondary bunker. There was this bunker built over here. So much static defense for Keyan. Holy shit. He's really concerned. Well, I guess bunkers aren't really static. I guess watchdogs aren't really static either. You always forget that these fucking buildings can fly. It's just so absurd. There's the Zorkas. Okay. I almost expect to see Gorgakors, actually. That's very, very possible. The air unit pathing has been changed a little bit. I did notice that in one of those FFAs. With a little bit I used Gorgakors is that they seemed a little bit better at chasing now. Before, the deceleration just turbo fucked them so much, and there it is. There's a quick switch. I'm expecting Gorgakors now, absolutely. Hard into Gorgakors for sure. He's got a lot of minerals banked up, and he's going to need it for them. The gas comes a little late into this, if you wanted to do that. But amassing gas, he absolutely is. Keyan at this point must be suspecting a tech up, because this has been unlike Veek's approach to the previous games. We've had an extremely heavy all-in, early sim pressure into diadect, and then not an extensive amount, but a fair amount of Zethercore pressure. At least some pressure, right? As opposed to this. So actually what we're seeing is Lakizlis. I thought he might go to Lakizlis, but I thought it was much more likely for him to spam Gorgakors. Lakizlis, I feel like, aren't going to be really that great against Terran because of them revealing themselves and getting shot at, but... Well, I guess we will see. It all depends on where he sticks them. That did expend most of his gas, but now he's full on Hydra spam. Meanwhile, an Atlas is coming. If Keyan is able to hold this, he might be able to put himself in a good position. But this is going to be quite a significant attack. Doesn't really seem to be intent to backdoor. He's just going to maybe rush it down. Maybe he spotted the second bunker and decided against that. Oh. Immediately off the bat. Absolutely swatted. The premeditation of Keyan keeps him from getting potentially cheesed by what was ever going on there. And now he knows that the Zerg are out there. You'll see him build some more units. He's got a single Maverick in there. Absolutely terrifying. Like Kislesk's charge forward. They're not getting attacked at all right now, so lots of damage. Holy shit. That melted much faster than I thought. Oh, there was nothing in there, that's why. One Maverick in here. The bunker is being unpopulated, absolutely devastating. So, the workers retreat. This bunker comes over here. Ah! And Oblev dies absolutely pointlessly. Oh, and he's dead. Here comes the repairs. One Mason dies. And everything dies. Well. That was quite a significant loss for Veek there, but he did take out the expansion, so it does put him ahead. A little more costly than it really should have been. Keyan absolutely floating a completely disgusting amount of resources, but more importantly he doesn't have any fulcrums. So he can't like switch over to phalanxes and do something about that. Instead he's going to go straight for captaincies. 3 captaincies in fact, because that's 3. Droleth headed over there to undoubtedly take one of those expansions as opposed to taking the expansion south of his main. Perhaps aware that Keyan liked to use Wraiths in one of the earlier games and may use them to scout around his base and having for something a little bit more out of the way. That said, if that was to be such a case, that base would get fucked. Because he won't be able to move his Hydras over there to defend it. Oh, he's trying to snipe this. Ah! That was very costly. Absolutely not worth it at all. There was no point in him diving into that, trying to snipe that. Maybe he was hoping his Hydras would live a little bit longer, but they didn't. He lost a tremendous amount of money for very, very little. Skithergors. Again. This time. Just a few of them now. I'm not sure about that. Just 4 though. Indeed, gonna get anti-air defenses here. Very wary of wraiths and possibly other shenanigans. However, it is going to be... What are these units? He's got 4 captaincies. That's not 3. Heracles. These are splashers. They deal splash. So, not very high range, though. Very, very short range. 3 range. I'm not so sure that's really that great against Hydras, but I guess we will see. Skithogor is going to poke into here. At least they'll discover the attack. There's not really a lot of anti-air defense over here, so they could force down one of those watchdogs and cause some problems. However, there are 2 Cyprians inside that bunker. So the worker line is generally quite safe here. He might get a couple kills, but 1 kill. Yeah, that was similarly ineffective. That was the deceleration again, and the acceleration fucking him up. They didn't want to chase that SCV very well. 3 caps immediately into there. That's going to be the Iral Iris. And possibly even a rush into tier 2.5, now that Keyan is fairly well contained. More and more and more defense is coming here, but Keyan is going to need to want to grab a 3rd because there is really not a lot of gas in this expansion, and he's going to need it as he starts producing more and more tier 2. At this stage, Veeq has an absolutely insane amount of resources and definitely could bump right into tier 2.5 if he really wanted to, but oh, now he's spending it. All Hydras again. That'll be Bactylisks, undoubtedly. Their rally pointed from here, a little dangerous. I don't like doing that because, well, there could be scouts there, but I suppose since he saw the captain sees these figures, who cares? It's not likely Keyan is going to have scouts over there to detect that expansion and see units coming out of it. However, it is definitely a risk, though, because if there was a Wraith or something patrolling around there and spotted the Hydras coming from the very strange angle, then that would absolutely lead to that base being a target because it has no defense, and responding to an attack there would be nearly impossible to get into it in time. It was something like the much-loved Madrigal drop, for example. Lots of Hydras here, expecting a morph into Bactylisks any moment. Needed just to wait for this, and indeed, the Spire is also on the way. The Spire may actually be a great choice in this, in spite of the presence of Sentinels. There is only a few Sentinels, and these guys can hit air, but they're very short range. So the Mutalisk could actually prove to be potentially useful in this matchup. That said, there are Madcaps, and they are very strong. 70 health, 2 armor, 3 armor penetration, and 6 range. Those are very strong infantry. However, it looks like instead he's going to go for some tanks for his front line. I'm not sure what he plans to do with the Muthark Spire at this point. I'm not actually sure what it unlocks besides Mutalisks either. The Bactylisks being high range and the Heracles being short range is going to put Keyan at an exceptional disadvantage. He is going to be locked inside of his base, and he's going to have to come out and against one of the highest range Zerg units there is. That said, they don't have any armor penetration, and the Heracles has 3 armor, but yeah, it's really going to come down to the engage. Can he get close enough? Another expansion for Veeq coming in here. There is no contest to his map control whatsoever. Keyan continues to make apostles. Apostles are also quite strong with 6 range, decent attack, and a lot of health. So his army is sort of beefy and sustaining. But I feel like Veeq has the beef advantage still, in spite of him not having revive. Just because all of his units just are fat. I mean, at least they look fat. I think statistically, Keyan might actually have the advantage, but definitely not in terms of range. If he charges into the bunkers, though, well, all of his melee died instantly. But oh, as they come out, it's a massacre. The Backless do move pretty slow, so the Heracles are able to catch up to them and deal a little bit of damage. Yeah, that was a bad engage for Veeq. That was precisely what Keyan wanted to happen, is all this shit dies on the bunkers that needed to tank for him, and then the Backlisks had to try to kite. Worked out pretty well for him in the long run. That gives him back map control. Oh! Ow! Oh! Apostles are an insanely strong unit. Just absolutely ridiculous. Still sticking to Hydra. Going into tier 2.5 as expected. But I think these Hydras are just deterrents, along with the potato Thalores. The potato Thanoses. One snap of his gauntlet, and suddenly your potatoes are mashed. McDonald's hates him. I'm pretty sure these units are just deterrents, but he might be planning to... I'm not sure what he would be planning outside of that. This is at the stage I'm not really familiar with Zerg tech at all. Keyan had a window to really pressure and take out all these bases here. The defenses wouldn't really hold against his army, but I think he didn't really pay attention. A Hydra came down from the west side, but either he didn't notice it or he didn't pay attention to it. He looked at his units. Why would there be a Hydra corpse there? So he goes in the wrong direction, and this time he is outnumbered. God, the reviving is silly as all hell. An absolute massacre, and Keyan was not multitasking during that time. So he's got a lot of minerals that could have all gone into madcaps. He does have a forest here with the addition of some salamanders, which will help a little bit, but... yeah, Veeq has so much bases. And no pressure was applied to these at all. There was a golden opportunity for Keyan to take back all the map control, but unfortunately that window has now passed, and he's once again kind of stuck here. There was a natural gas explosion. I don't know what it is. A base was landed here. Has a quarry, but hasn't done anything yet. This is still going to be a little troublesome to deal with, although the potato Thalores can hurl rancid corn dogs quite the distance. He wants Keyan to come out. Doesn't want to make the same mistake again. He doesn't really have any front line though, just some wounded Azera Koros, and the Salamanders actually forced him to retreat. He did not want to fight that. I think he could have fought that, but he didn't. There's so many units, holy shit. He's not really doing anything with this yet. Maybe they unlocked the potato Thalores, I'm not sure. He's building a Hatteros here! But you want to bet he builds like a Nidus Canal or something. I mean, he could. He can also build static defense. He could also just build 1,000 structures to make more units. I'm not really sure what he's going to do here. So he has no idea about the secret third base, but it's going to take a little while. It's gathering gas. Keyan is absolutely hurting on gas for sure. I think he really needs to like spam the absolute hell out of madcaps at this stage. Madcaps and sentinels. Just line this whole thing up with sentinels. Or maybe move him back a little bit so if he charges in here, they can't get shot from the cliff. The Salamander is laying down some covering fire as the front folds. A little wary about these guys, but they cannot attack air. Keyan actually has a huge advantage because they cannot hit air. He's scared of them, but they can't hurt him. The potatoes aren't real. Maybe now he realizes it. Some convolisks have arrived. It is indeed a Nidus. He's a little concerned about the convolisks, but I think he could still charge this. One goes down, it spawns. Dude, did it revive? They're not reviving. Does the spawn cancel revive? I didn't know about that. I don't know if the spawn cancels the revive or not. The revive sound goes off, but the salamander didn't reappear. Expansion here, expansion there. Be keeping his gas down, but also floating a lot of minerals. Just need a lot of fat men. Look at the worker count difference. Jesus Christ. 66 to 108. No larvasks at all, just all hatchrosks all the time. Never even bothered to upgrade them. Can't you get a layer or something with those? At tier 2.5? Well, Shambler is telling me the hive is better anyways, so. I honestly don't know the well, I think he said one spawns 2 and the other spawns upgraded units. I guess in Veek's case, the gas would not be wise to spend on that anyways. He has so much production, he doesn't really need to worry too much about that. Still, a lack of fulcrum units from Keyan. No tanks or anything of that nature. Sticking straight to the infantry and building more salamanders. Keyan's got so much minerals. Really needs to spam the absolute fuck out of sentinels in these expansions. They're his lifeline to this game. If he loses them, he's in such deep shit. This vessel going over here could give him away. But I'm not sure if I don't think Veek was paying attention to that. Some sentinels coming up here. Veek is just spreading all over the place. Like when you throw up and it's really watery and it just gets all over the floor. That's what his color looks like to me. There's no healing here either. There's no like clerics or shamans. It's just all reviving. And now Keyan's shit's getting drawn out of his base and he's not respawning to it. It's precisely what Veek wants. Oh. Oh, he has to cancel it because the circuit was going to kill his Seraph. That may have caused some confusion for Veek, though. The error comes in. One salamander dies. Kiting this is a little difficult. Another salamander dies. Gets a little separated here. He got a lot of damage in, but because he got separated, it kind of slowed down his damage approach on the main body. The Seraph is still here. I think he spots it. There is some Skithogors coming here. The advance comes in. There is a shaman. It is going to die, or not. It died. Keyan absolutely flustered at the moment. He did reassign his rallies. He is making madcaps. There's another nuke coming. The Skithogor did not come to deal with the Seraph. The Seraph actually has absurdly high range. Oh! That does deal damage to Zerg structures. It could even destroy Veek's tech. If Veek is not careful, he could take a huge amount of damage here. I think there's another coming, isn't there? I see the lights on it. His tech is going to die. That's a really expensive loss. No? Its lights were on, but nothing was happening. Coming here, trying to mop up this during the chaos. A very large amount of air is coming over here. I don't know why he needed so many just to deal with one Seraph. But deal with it he did. He's undoubtedly going to send them against the salamanders. It's just What absolute overkill. I don't know if he really needs that air, though. Keyan, at this point, has not converted that insane amount of money into defenses or units. And there's nothing going on at home in the starports. Alright, now he's going to build a couple of salamanders, but we haven't seen Vithrilists like this since I first looked at this project, and the AI built thousands of them. That said, they took a lot of damage. Holy shit. Wow. There wasn't that many salamanders, and they were wounded. And he still forced Veeq back anyways. Oh, they debuff land units now? That has implications. They can't hit land units, can they? No. These bases have some idle workers. No gas cap. This one is idle. Keyan's got a lot of money, and Veeq's got a lot of money. Veeq is very lucky there was no second nuke, because absolutely could have lost a huge chunk of his tech there. This SCV wants to get around here, maybe to build another bunker, but these men just keep getting into his way. So he sends the other SCV over. You know, sometimes you might see a question posed, shouldn't you have units decollide? No, the game really shouldn't play itself. There should at least be something that makes you pay attention to what's going on inside your own base. In they go. Yeah, the madcaps are just going to butcher everything that gets within their range. Veeq is once again held back. He's absolutely bursting at the seams. And he just can't seem... What the fuck is going on over here? Okay. Okay, Veeq is a joker. That's what's going on. Everybody died. This awkward pause. Veeq is not sure how to break this wall. And spamming the same amount of units doesn't seem to be quite capable of breaking it. There's some money being depleted on behalf of Keyan as he is now getting a Daedala. Imagine if Keyan starts creeping out with ion cannons. I think it's going to be a little difficult to do that, though. There's just too much that's going to be in his base at any point. Oh, they're all melting, though. Nope, the Vithrilisk dies. All the brood spawn are interrupting his Vilgoricor. It can't get close. With so many hydras and potatoes. And slowly the bunkers are worn down. The crusty corn dogs are destroying him. He's gonna run off. He's gonna try to go to his other expansion. At least start the ion cannon before you lift. You should have started the ion cannon before you lifted. He's gonna see this for sure. He has to. Oh no. Does he even know? He doesn't even know. Oh, the silo exploded. That killed all of his shit and a good chunk of Veeq's shit. Are we desynced? No? Don't think so. So manner. Veeq just isn't sure what's going on. Where's the resistance? Surely there's more to it than that. The random add-ons being here would be a giveaway for sure. Now, it's time. It's time, Keyan! Build the ion cannons! You have enough money for like 4 of them. Build all of them. Hurry! You must make great haste! Don't build them too close to the ledge, though, because your shit's gonna give them away. Oh, it's already too late. Make more, hurry! You must hurry, Keyan, you must embrace the Holy Sacrament! More ion cannons, more! Oh, it's a train wreck. Absolute travesty. You needed one here. You needed one here. Here. Keyan will not be able to embrace the Holy Ion Cannon God. His chapel, it's not good enough. It's not rich enough. There was no conviction in his eyes. Instead, he was abandoned by our Holy Father. And Veeq comes down upon him with his crusty corn dogs in hand, laughing his Polish laugh all the way down from Crazy Mountain on his sled of clay and gold and cocaine. Now there's a Gorga chorus we were looking for earlier into the match. Both players in this match displayed a love for money. As a member of the Merchants Guild, I appreciate that. But we could see some real weakness in Veeq's play within this game. Once it transitioned past mid-game and it became clear that there was going to be some trouble breaking that wall, Veeq didn't really seem to have a real goal in mind other than just to brute force it down. His awareness of the map laxed, and he never checked those expansions until after he thought they were desynced. And all the tech in production was missing after it just floated haphazardly by his southern forces. He no longer was keeping aware of the map when he perhaps felt confident that he had control over the situation, when in reality, if Keyan was able to spend his money a little bit more wisely, or have a more tight defense on top of it, and repelled him for longer and longer and gotten those bases under control, and had been able to fortify them, they would have actually been relatively even on bases. And then at that stage, Keyan was at tier 3. He could have started creeping ion cannons across the map, and then Veeq would have been put into the defensive. It was absolutely a dangerous situation that Veeq could have found himself in, that he only skirted by, perhaps because Keyan was not entirely sure how to deal with the pressure. But absolutely, we definitely saw some cracks forming in Veeq's play at that moment, where the late game became kind of uncertain for him. When he did, but to me, it wasn't a very convincing victory. This is match 5, our final match, as Keyan plays Protoss and Veeq plays as Protoss, again with this vomity fucking color. The map is different now. The resources are in different locations. Or no, they were like that before, weren't they? He changed them again. Or is this an older version? He might be making changes to the map as they play or something. I don't know what's going on. I'm not going to pretend it's going on. Veeq is once again that magma color with the warping that burns the retinas. Please don't build any Dynaks this game. Please spare my eyes the torment. Early scouts this time. Both at almost the exact same time. Veeq has got kind of like this cheesy complexion about him. Like, he's just slathered himself in cheese. I know a Frenchman who would absolutely 100% appreciate that. Getting tickled. Confirms there is no tech. And indeed a lattice from Veeq. And a gateway from Keyan. No vassal spam. No commitment. SMH. Not going to go back to his roots in this game, Keyan, I feel. So we're just going to see Veeq spam Sims against Drakidins, perhaps. Oh, there's a probe here. Yes, Drakidin. And this takes a little while to build. Oh, maybe going for an early expansion too. If he suspects Drakidins, will he commit to Sims, though? Because Drakidins are pretty strong against them, and it is a little bit of a distance. Early pressure may not be so viable on this. Although it has worked relatively well in the past, he decides to go for an expansion instead. Because of the early matrix, perhaps Keyan suspecting mass sims, this delays his own expansion very considerably. Indeed, there are some sims coming, but I don't think it's going to be terribly all in. Just perhaps to deter any early aggression. That said, Draconin is coming. The one Draconin could cause them some problems here, so I guess by the time it reaches him, he'll have maybe his second set of sims out already. If Keyan's not careful, he could end up spawning him a number of extra sims to help him budget that. A matrix here too, just in case of vassals. Very defensive, still delaying that nexus a lot. I feel like in this case, it might have been a little better just to keep the Draconin at home to deal with possibly vassals, but the Draconin does stand to deal a little bit of damage here. Would like to cancel this ward. Indeed, he does. I don't know if Veeq actually canceled that. There's a lot of sims all over the place, but just going to sit back. Does see the early nexus. Very wary of a more defensive opening from Veeq, but Veeq actually has a military advantage on top of it at this stage. There is a second Draconin here. Still don't think Veeq is going to attack, but if he does, he hypothetically could farm thousands of sims off of the one matrix. If Keyan was to allow him to, though, maybe he would. Would be very nice of him. Test out the unit expander that I don't think they have actually put into the game yet. DF put his heart and soul into that. 2 wardens here. Veeq is a little wary about early pressure, but nothing in his main. So now my curiosity is will he double down on just going gateway? Or will there be a tech switch from Keyan of any kind? Whatever tech switch would be in mind is going to be delayed because he's built 3 matrices now. Embassy. The embassy is not a cheap structure. Still building sims. A couple of vassals here, likely just to check to see what his tech might be. His probe is absolutely fucking fucked by this shit fuck pathing. And away it goes. The path is clear. It just keeps going to fucking wherever. I don't believe a word that Blizzard says when they put any effort into the pathing in this game. It's just a hacky damn mess, and when things look like they should behave, they don't. Capping all those geysers again from Veeq. He doesn't just go like the gradual cap, like I'm going to take one and I'm going to take another. If he's taking them, he's taking all of them. So what I really know is this really sets him apart from the others. See, it's the 3 again. Embassy. Both going for embassy. Making probes at the moment. Very defensive. Just making the occasional military unit just for deterrence. Nobody seems to have any intent to move out. But we do see 2. Oh my god! Just going straight into what I presume to be Barghists, which are going to have a little bit of a difficult time against the matrices. Well, you never know. He might go for Vagrants as well. Fairly reasonable units. I mean, he could also take the DT replacement. I had their name before, and now I forgot it. The way that they cloak and recloak, it's really weird, and I found it very hard to attack them. And I was able to abuse them against Pernago at one point, and they just felt really strong, but a little inconsistent, a little hard to play around. Double lattice here. There may be some delays, but absolutely just committing to sims in the long run. Indeed, there is an envoy. He is going to be sticking them inside of the envoy. I hope Artosis sees this. I would love to see the whites in his eyes, the horror manifest from days long past. It would serve him right for what he does today. A man should fear his gods. Oh, there's another one. There's another one. Get him. There you go. He didn't want the Sims after all. Not even the one that was his Sonic fanfic. OC. Please don't steal. There is a witness here. It is chilling. Oh, now it's on the way. Fantastic. Getting an exemplar from Keyan, as well as an additional astral omen. So this is going to be a very different break. He's going to send out his 4 Draconins now. Is very possibly going to run into... No, they're going to miss it. They might even miss the witness too, although they don't stand to do too much. They're going to run into those. Checking for expansions, and Keyan going a very elaborate route. Actually going to run right into that. It's going to be 2 engagements right at the same time. Oh. And some heckling here is going to take Veeq's attention as he scouts out and decides to drop those there. The Draconins retreat from the horde of Sims. And the Cabalists, that's it. I knew it was C something. There's 4 of them here, actually. This is going to be a real headache. He's got to build a witness ASAP. And here we're going to see the recloaking behavior I was talking about in action. Oh. But the Exemplar can kill them quite handily. That said, a lot of kills. And... Veeq! That ripped a hole through my asshole, into my urethra, up my nose and into my soul. It was quite possibly one of the most painful things I have ever had to force out of my nostrils today. Absolutely disgusting, embarrassing, wretched. Such a rotten way to die. Oh no! No, no, no! No! No, 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 no! Oh my god! And it even gets away. Oh, Jesus Christ in the Latter-day Saints. Oh shit, they're gonna walk into a fucking mink render. What? One Matrix down! Oh, Veeq! Ah. That was an intense full minute of puritanism end to end. Losing the shuttle very, very avoidably. Almost killing the Exemplar as Keyan also had his attention elsewhere. But actually failing to kill it, and then all of the Sims die for basically nothing. He's spam vassals. Yeah, hell, why not? They attack air, and the Exemplars can't. This is going to be absolutely disgusting. They have 4 armor. There's no armor pen. They are going to be tickled to death. But before they are tickled to death, what kind of... Oh, there is some Bargus here. Oh, shit! He flies right fucking past them! He has no idea they're right there! Oh, God! Oh, the humanity! Oh my God. Oh, the tickling has arrived. Oh, the Didact got out! The Didact got out! Oh, shit! Just in time. That's what we call E-hand timing. But they're regenerating all their shields. It's a suicide run now. Go for the scribes! Oh, Keyan killing them by the thousands! Oh, the tickling! Oh, I hope you have a tickle fetish. I know I do. That was disgusting. But because there's another base, it wasn't as damaging as you might think it was. These Exemplars are much more out of position and are also going to get thoroughly tickled to death. Little bit of fancy footwork here, trying to get as much as he can. Many Veeq workers died this day, but because he had built so many to oversaturate these expansions, he is able to come out on top. There is some tickling over here. An expansion coming down over here. No, the Didact! No! No, Veeq! No! Oh, shit! Unable to stasis the one Dracodon, but the horde of vassals descends upon Keyan. It's like a swarm of tadpoles just crawling into your nostrils. Oh, the Gladiuses, they can attack air, but they are getting tickled to death. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. The Bargus are going to die absolutely miserably. Oh, it's disgusting. Keyan has no defenses on his worker line. If Veeq can resist the bug zapper and not fly directly into matrices, he could devastate Keyan's worker line. Absolutely devastate. This is a little more well protected, but I think Veeq is gonna get punked by the same fucking base in the same spot as the last game. The fly swatters have arrived. They hurl balls. This expansion is getting tickled, but Keyan will be able to save it here. There are balls. Little sloppy control from Veeq at the moment. There it is! Oh my god, my eyes! It's horrible. 1,000 Stargates. He's just gonna spam Panoptises, right? I entrust the holy quest of Panoptive spam. Oh. The Matrix goes down. He could take out the other one. He could take out the other one. He's got a Bargus still. Oh, it died. What a rotten way to die. Absolutely disgusting. He could have taken out both Matrixes, absolutely. Swats the witness, but... Oh. Okay, Keyan definitely taking a little bit of a blow from that, but swatting out a lot of standing military might. There's the Panoptises. We'll see if Veeq can micro those well enough. They're absolutely ridiculously strong in hit and run. Their movement speed has been reduced a little bit since I used them. This is also very expensive, by the way. You can tell because Veeq just plummeted his resources and he's sitting on 4 bases at the moment. He's rebounded quite well from the devastating Exemplar attack. Keyan, on the other hand, is... I have a feeling I know where this is going. I don't know. It could work. Oh, they're not that slow. Can he do it fast enough? You gotta hurry though. You really gotta hurry. It's gonna be devastating. Ah, it's too late. Absolute massacre. Those weren't even matrices, so the vassals survive. It's coming. I knew it. Keyan is returning to his roots. A traditionalist at heart. Amass them, Keyan. With them builds a great fleet that will blot out the sun like 1,000 locusts. It'll be in like the biblical times, where a man ejaculated into the sky and a dark rain fell upon the pilgrims. They called him the Great Fertilizer. We'll see if Keyan can make a vassal for every single unit in the map. This witness has no idea what's going on. It hasn't moved an inch. Keyan doesn't even know it's there. He has his own witness here, but he doesn't know the other one is just sitting there spying on his worker line, the most vital part of his base. Expansion coming over here. Just Panoptis. Oh, there's a couple of the, what are those, Lanifex? And Sims, of course. It wouldn't be Veeq without Sims, I guess. Just keep making them. Build more. Oh, look, it's an Argus thing. Build more. More. You need more. There's not nearly enough, Keyan. He still probably has more than you. Oh, shit! Oh! The witness killed itself. Well, like Shambler said, suicide is the way to go. Scribes scurrying around everywhere. I think these two arrow, yes, they do anti-arrow splash. I'm not sure of the whole. Oh shit! Oh, there's stasis. LOL. Oh, there's stasis. LOL. Well, there's more. Tickling. The great onslaught of the tickling. They might kill up an Optus. No. It's over. Keyan was not committed to the job. He could have filled this entire place with lattices. Stasis is absolutely absurdly strong, and honestly, I would agree with Keyan in this. It is ridiculously strong. It is, when you've got two die decks together, it is almost impossible to play against it if they play them well. I mean, yeah, you uncloak, but it still gives you a huge damage initiative. And cancels a lot of range advantage, right? Because you have to have an observer close enough, and then you've got recall on top of it. I mean, Protoss already have Maelstrom, right? Like, why build a Mind Tyrant when you can build a Didex? Unless you really need the mind control. I mean, the Maelstrom allows you to attack things, too, so it's also strong, but... No, I can't comment too much about the balance on this. I have no idea really what I'm talking about. I'm just looking at things as I see them. This game felt a lot stronger for Keyan, actually. There was some initiative, and he did do a fair bit of damage, and he was able to strike back. Definitely a lot of money being floated on both sides. Although, at the end of the day, you know, Veeq uses that money. He spammed like Panoptises, right? Like, he dropped all of his minerals. Whereas Keyan felt like, I mean, with Protoss, I find it hard to spend the money too. Maybe Atrices might have been acceptable for this because of their AoE and him going arrow. But he didn't really know that there was Panoptises coming until they just destroyed his expansion. The game is basically already sealed. I feel like the Vassals was just a meme in the end of the day, right? At the end of the day, Veeq takes this serious. We see what I feel to be... Well, there's a skill difference for sure. But I feel like the skill difference is kind of hard to really like pinpoint. Like, I can't just say, oh, macro better or micro better, because I don't think it's quite so simple. Right? The skill difference is more of that... It really, I think, like a big chunk of it kind of comes down to just like expenditure of economy, establishing and spending economy. It's honestly the most important part of the game, right? Because there's so many different phases to it. Building bases, saturating those bases, defending those bases is a really big one. A lot of people struggle with, and then actually spending the resources for them, having a goal for them, right? So when I'm playing this, the big thing I struggle with is spending minerals. With Terran, I now know I can build Captain Seas and spam Madcaps. Those are ridiculously strong units. Even if you don't really have any support for them, they're just really good all-around units. You know. And then for Zerg, you would build your frontline units, like the Azura Cores, Zethar Cores, Vorva Cores, stuff like that. With Protoss, I find it a little bit more difficult, right? Because a lot of the mineral-only units are melee. And in the cases that I've been up against, I haven't really needed melee units for those, right? Like the, like Legionnaires or Zealots or Amaranths or whatever. Vassals, obviously, they can most certainly tickle down units, but you know, when you're in such a defensive situation like that, maybe AoE would have been more preferable. But also, you kind of like see the game unfold in the same way every time, right? Like Veeq starts taking bases, those bases do not get pressured, and even if Veeq flounders a whole bunch, losing tons of units or not being able to capitalize on certain situations, just because of the economic advantage, just look at the resources. He's literally almost double the resources. That is double the resources. And then this is 64. It's doubled the resources in terms of gas. And gas is just, it's massive. Look at the gas difference between gas and minerals. It's huge. It's absolutely massive. And all that just comes down to Veeq taking bases and then saturating them. Veeq lost just a huge amount of workers to those exemplars. And at the end of the day, when he looked at the worker counts, it didn't really look like that big of a deal because he had the extra base and he had all the extra workers in saturation. He rebounded from that. It almost felt like effortlessly. There's a little bit of a dip in his income, but he rebounded from it very gracefully. Whereas when that expansion for Keyan was finally discovered again and then taken down, it wasn't really saturated that much at all, and it had been there for a while. So if I was to look at Keyan and say, I have an idea for what you would improve on, I would say it's the same thing I got to improve on, is take bases, protect the bases, saturate the bases as soon as possible, and work up, because he can do it with like two or three bases. As far as going to like mid and late, then it starts to struggle because the scale of the game increases. There's more for you to keep track of, and that's where the weak spots really start to expand, right? Like with Veeq, I think it's like, he kind of like with the Zerg game, it felt like he maybe was a little unsure how to proceed to break this wall. But he had such an economic advantage from what he did have strengths in that at that point it didn't matter as much for him. That was like me in those FFAs. I didn't really know what I was doing with Zerg at all. I had no idea what most of what I was building even did. But since I had map control, even though a lot of the map was very weakly defended, since I had the resources, I could afford to just play it by the ear as I went along. I spent a lot of time reading, trying to figure out what stuff did. So, all in all, though, it's still an interesting series. We did see some back and forth and silly things happen, even if Veeq did get cuckoed at one point. We did see Keyan pull off some very silly things and odd exchanges back and forth, so I most certainly found it entertaining.